I'm telling you this from my apartment, 3 years later, and I still lock my bedroom door. Not because I'm scared of the dark, because I know what it feels like to have someone test how deeply you're sleeping. Back in 2021, I started at this small university in Ohio. Small town, small campus, small everything. COVID had gutted the dorms. Most kids fled to off-campus apartments because they could afford it. I couldn't, so I stayed. The building was practically empty, which was supposed to be a perk. Private bathrooms, quiet hallways, no noise complaints. That's where I met Sarah. She was already there when I moved in, sitting on her bed, with her back straight and her hands folded in her lap. She didn't stand to greet me, just nodded, said her name, and went back to organizing her drawer with this meticulous, robotic precision. I tried to make small talk. She answered in one-word responses. I thought maybe she was shy. Then she said, "Everyone had their own rooms last semester, until you joined." Not hostile, just flat, like I was an inconvenience she'd accepted. I told her about my weekend routine: go home Friday, come back Monday at 6 a.m. She nodded. That was it. The first Monday, I came back exhausted, drove in the dark, crawled into bed around 6:15, and felt my eyes close within seconds. 10 minutes later, I felt the edge of my mattress dip, just slightly, like someone had leaned their weight on it. I didn't move. I was too tired to process what was happening. The mattress rose back up. I turned my head. Sarah was in her bed, facing the wall, breathing slow and even. The second Monday, I felt the whole side of my bed sag downward. Someone sat next to me. I could feel the heat from their body. I lay there, eyes squeezed shut, counting my breaths. I heard them stand up, heard the thump of a jump off the high bed, heard the creak of the other mattress. I opened my eyes. Sarah was facing the wall again. The third Monday, I was ready. I told myself I'd stay awake. I'd confront whatever was happening. But I was so tired I barely made it to my pillow. I don't know how long I was out. 5 minutes? Maybe 10. I felt the mattress dip, felt someone sit beside me. Then I felt a hand on the back of my neck. Not squeezing, not moving, just resting there, like they were checking my pulse, waiting. My throat locked up. I felt my pulse in my ears. I didn't blink. I didn't breathe. I just lay there, frozen, until the hand lifted. I heard them get down, heard the other bed creak. I forced myself to turn around. Sarah was facing the wall. I left at 6 a.m. that morning and called my mom from a bench outside the dining hall. She reported it to the school. They moved me to a first-floor room. I asked them not to give Sarah another roommate. They said they'd look into it. I tried to move on. I told myself it was sleepwalking, medication side effects, anything but malice. But I couldn't shake the image of her hand on my neck. A few days later, Sarah texted me, said I'd left a binder and a book in her room. I didn't care about the book, but the binder had class notes. I told her I'd come get them. My key still worked. I let myself in. She wasn't there. I grabbed my things and turned to leave. She was standing in the doorway. I didn't hear her unlock it. I didn't hear her footsteps. She was just there, blocking my exit, her face completely blank. "Where's your new room?" she asked. I told her it was on the first floor. "Which hall?" I lied. Gave her a different hall. She kept pressing. "Is it near the stairs? The front entrance? The office?" I kept lying. Said I didn't remember. Her questions came faster, more insistent. I finally said it was near the stairs. It wasn't. I just needed her to stop. She stepped aside. I walked past her so fast I almost fell. I never saw her again after that. Weeks later, after they'd cleared her room, I went back to the floor to grab something from the communal lounge. The door to her old room was propped open. The cleaning staff had missed a small drawer under the desk. Inside was a notebook. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The first few pages were just dates and observations. Night 3 didn't wake up. Night 5 moved slightly. Must hold neck longer. Further down, she's getting suspicious. Need to find her new room. And the last entry. Followed her yesterday. She's on the first floor, east wing. Door 117. She leaves at 6. My stomach turned. She'd been tracking me, logging my sleep patterns like I was an experiment. I handed the notebook to campus security. They said Sarah had already withdrawn. No forwarding address, no explanation. Just gone. My friend Megan called me later that night. I saw something weird a few weeks ago, she said, her voice shaky. I was coming back late, and I saw Sarah outside your new door. She was pressing her ear against it, just standing there. I thought she was waiting for someone, so I didn't say anything. I think about that. About Sarah outside my door, listening to my breathing through the wood. About the hand on my neck that never squeezed, but never let go either. I don't know if she wanted to wake me or keep me asleep. I don't know if the notebook was a plan or just a record of something darker. What I do know is that someone out there has logged my sleep patterns, memorized my breathing, and knows exactly how long it takes me to wake up. And I know she's out there, somewhere, probably with another roommate. The thing about old university buildings is that they settle. Pipes creak, wood contracts. But that night, the ceiling didn't settle. It breathed. This was my last year at Northumber University in Northern England. I was taking advanced stats, and my professor had a reputation for destroying students with massive projects. My laptop had been glitching for weeks, so I'd resorted to the computer lab in the business building, a 3-story relic that sat isolated from the rest of campus. During the day, it was just a building. At night, it turned into a tomb. I got there around 10 p.m. The place was dead quiet. I swiped my ID, heard the click of the lock, and stepped into a hallway that smelled aggressively of bleach. The cleaning staff had already done their rounds. I was alone. For the first hour, it wasn't bad. The hum of the computer, the rhythm of my keyboard, the clock in the corner ticking toward midnight. Around 11:30, I heard a door slam somewhere down the hallway. Not the front entrance, somewhere deeper, inside the building. I told myself it was the air system. Then I heard footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. I stared at my computer screen, refusing to look up. The footsteps stopped right outside the lab door. I could see the handle through the glass window if I tilted my head, but I couldn't bring myself to move. The handle rattled. Not a casual test, a violent shake, like whoever was on the other side wanted to break it down. 30 seconds of that, then silence. The footsteps retreated. I exhaled, told myself it was a student messing around, went back to typing. 10 minutes later, I heard it again. But this time, it wasn't coming from the hallway. It was coming from above me. The ceiling had those thin, flimsy panels that lift right out, and something was moving on them, crawling, dragging itself across the tiles directly above my head. I looked up, terrified, and watched as one of the tiles shifted, just enough to know there was weight pressing down from the other side. A slow creak followed, like someone was lowering themselves carefully, trying not to be heard. I yanked my flash drive out, grabbed my notebook, and bolted for the door. The hallway was dim, lit by buzzing fluorescent lights that flickered in and out. I didn't run. I walked fast, trying not to make a sound. I shoved the stairwell door open and started down. On the landing above me, just one floor up, there was a man. He wasn't a student, wasn't a professor. He was wearing dirty, oversized clothes, and his face was half shadowed. He didn't move. He just stood there, staring down at me like a statue. Not grinning, not threatening, just present. I flew down the stairs so fast I almost tripped, slammed through the first floor door, sprinted for the front entrance, scanned my ID, and ran across campus without looking back. I didn't stop until my dorm door was locked behind me. The next morning, I went back. I had to turn in the project. The building looked completely different in daylight. Normal, boring. But I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The ceiling tile above where I'd been working was missing. The one I'd seen shifting. There was a dark hole in the ceiling, right where the crawling sounds had come from. I reported it to campus security. A guard named Mr. Davies listened, took notes, and said he'd check the surveillance footage. I thought that was it. But the next day, Mr. Davies called me into his office. He looked pale. "We found something in the ceiling," he said. He led me to the third floor maintenance access panel. We climbed up into the crawl space. Tight, dusty, filled with insulation and wiring. We followed the crawl marks until we were directly above the computer lab. There, wedged between two beams, was a backpack. Inside were photographs, dozens of them, all taken from the ceiling, looking down at students working late in the computer lab. The photos were time-stamped over several months. Students I recognized. Students who'd probably never noticed they were being watched. And at the bottom of the backpack, there was a photo of me, taken from the ceiling, looking down at my desk. The angle was perfect. Whoever had been crawling above me had taken that photo while I was working, completely unaware. Mr. Davies called the police. They never found the man. The building's cameras didn't catch him coming in or out, which meant he had another way in. A broken window, a service door, something. I still think about that backpack, the photos, the way someone had been living in that ceiling for months, watching students, recording their habits. And I think about the tile that moved directly above me that night. He wasn't just trying to scare me. He was documenting me, adding me to his collection. I bought a new laptop the next week. I never stayed late in that building again. But sometimes, when I'm walking across campus at night, I look up at the windows of the business building, and I wonder if anyone's up there, looking down. I've replayed the walk to that car park hundreds of times. Every step, every detail. I should have run sooner. I should have screamed. But the lanyard made me trust him. My name is Amy. I was 16, in my second full day at a new high school in the outskirts of Manchester. The school was weird. 1/3 special education, 1/3 nursery, 1/3 actual high school. Everyone told us on the first day, don't let anyone in you don't recognize. Scan your ID. Keep your lanyard visible. I didn't think about that rule until later. It was right after lunch. I'd drunk too much juice in the cafeteria because I had nowhere else to put it. And 20 minutes into geography class, I really needed to use the bathroom. My teacher, Mr. Thompson, was annoyed. We'd just had break. But he saw my face and reluctantly nodded. I left the classroom, passed through the empty cafeteria, and used the bathroom in the next corridor. When I came back through the cafeteria doors, a man was sitting at one of the tables. He was too old to be a student. I assumed teacher. He had a lanyard around his neck, though the ID part was flipped backward, the blank side facing out. I noticed it, but didn't register it. Kids did that all the time. Teachers, less so, but I didn't question it. He said, "Hey." I jumped. I'm a nervous person, and I wasn't expecting anyone to speak to me. He laughed. "Sorry, didn't mean to scare you." I smiled awkwardly and tried to walk past. Then he said, "I need some help getting work things out of my car. You look strong for your size." I should have said no. Every self-defense video tells you to say no. But he had the lanyard, and I'd been taught to respect teachers. So, I said, "Yeah, of course." We walked out of the cafeteria, through the foyer, and out the front doors. I remember noticing he seemed nervous, hands in his pockets, then out, then clasped together. He wasn't making small talk. I was too shy to initiate any. The car park was about 50 meters away, blocked from view by a thick hedge of bushes. We walked in silence. He said, "My work stuff is in the boot. A few bags. Need help carrying them back in?" We rounded the bushes. He pointed to a blue car at the far end of the lot. As we got closer, I saw movement in the back seat. 2 figures. They ducked down, but I'd already seen them. I blinked, and that moment of hesitation was enough. The back door swung open. A man scrambled out. At the same time, the man next to me grabbed my arm. I don't know how I got free. I'm 5'2" and underweight. But something in my brain switched off, and my body took over. I yanked my arm backwards so hard it hurt, spun around, and ran. I heard heavy footsteps behind me. 2 sets, maybe 3. I was still 50 meters from the school, and the glass doors took seconds to open. Seconds I didn't have. But they stopped chasing. Maybe they saw the glass doors and realized anyone could be watching. Or maybe they just didn't want to risk it. I made it inside, ran into the cafe attached to the library, and collapsed in front of the cashier. I couldn't get the words out at first, just pointed outside and said, "Carmen." They called my parents. They called the police. The car park had security cameras. They caught the men, charged them with attempted kidnapping. The lanyard the man had been wearing belonged to a student who dropped it outside the school. He'd found it, flipped it around, and used it to get inside. I didn't go back for weeks. I still have nightmares. A few weeks after the police report, I was at a shopping center with my mom. We were walking past a coffee shop, and I saw someone at a table near the window. He was looking at me, smiling. It was one of the men from the car. I stopped walking. My mom kept going, oblivious. I stared at him. He didn't get up or approach. He just raised his coffee cup slightly, like a toast, and held my gaze. Then I blinked, and he was gone. Just an empty seat, a half-finished drink. My mom said I'd imagined it. Trauma response, she said. But I know what I saw. That was 2 years ago. I'm 18 now, and I still can't walk past a parked car without scanning the back seat. I don't trust lanyards anymore, and I definitely don't trust a stranger who asks for help near a parked car. They caught him again a few months later, targeting another school in a different city. He's in prison now, but I still look over my shoulder. I don't think I'll ever stop.